I'm Adam Marino.
And I'm Mike Marino. That's right, we're related.
We are two cousins talking music and how it relates to us.
And why it should relate to you.
This is How It's Related. All right, another week is aquí.
Aquí.
It is here.
Aquí tenemos una semana.
That's, I don't know. That's enough. You're more from California than I am. That's enough.
I'm more California than you.
California.
I'm California than you.
Oh.
Thank you.
Yes, another episode of How It's Related. And just a couple days ago was the big SNL is 50 years old. And we've been talking about it for almost a month. All the docs about it. The movie. Did you see Saturday Night, the movie?
The movie, I saw the series. I saw the first few episodes of a series.
No.
Something different?
Yeah.
Okay,
so
no,
this is a 2-hour
Oh, you and Paul
movie.
Zico were talking about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it is quite good. I recommend it. It's on Netflix. And the one character that I recognize from the show Gotham, the guy who played the Riddler, he plays Chevy Chase. And he nails it. Because he was kind of the most full of himself kind of character was Chevy back in the day. Not much has changed from what people say.
Sure.
And it highlights that very first show. The guy who, his name is Matt Reese. I think I'm explaining it. I think I'm pronouncing it correct.
You're definitely not explaining it well.
Right.
Yeah.
That's already. No, I think I'm pronouncing his name correctly. He married Felicity, Carrie Russell. Okay. So they were in a show.
Yeah.
This is all over, but just hang with. They're in a show called The Americans. Are you aware? It was on FX. It's a good show.
Like Russian spies or something?
Yeah. Seriously. All right. That guy, he played George Carlin. Now, I thought that was a little interesting, but he did nail it. He did. And George was a jerk back then. And
I could see that.
So George Carlin and Billy Preston, who played with the Beatles, was like the musical guest.
The
no
keyboardist?
one knew. No one knew what was going on. They're all just here for this thing.
Yep.
And some 30-year-old named Lorne, like who names their kid Lorne?
Right. And
they don't know what's going on. Here comes Gilda Radner. Here's Dan Aykroyd. They don't know anything. And it kind of just finds its footing. And in 1975, the very next day, which is a Sunday, do you know what happens? Which I just found out recently. The very next day, your aunt and uncle got married.
Oh, my goodness.
Larry and Linda Marino.
Yeah.
Got married the next day in October. Crazy.
So inspired by it. Yeah. Okay.
Inspired by
right.
it. Yeah. Gypsy culture, and we've talked a little bit about this, but you get married on Sunday, and I guess I didn't really realize that. But so they got married the Sunday after the very, very first Saturday Night Live. So fast forward 50 years, and here we are, and that was cool to see. I mean, Jack Nicholson has not been publicly around anything, and like he came out.
Yeah.
There were some funny, times when Tina Fey and Amy Poehler were like, "Hey, Ryan Reynolds is here. You doing okay?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm good. Why? Did you hear something?" Like that. That's funny. Like with all that's going on.
Yeah.
With his wife. Like, what? Am I not okay? What? Tell me. Like just to make fun of it.
What's going on with his wife? I'll bite.
Okay. So she made a movie.
I don't read the tabloids.
She made a movie with this director who was in the movie and then sued him for sexual misconduct or whatever. And he countersued because there is hidden camera video where he's being like pretty professional. And so there's like a thing, and it's he
countersued for her being an unpleasant person.
Basically, and there's a he said she said kind of thing. It's on Google, it's on the interwebs.
Yeah, I have no idea about it.
It's not
okay,
but yeah, it is a thing.
All right.
And so I guess Mint Mobile is doing fine. I don't know if it's about that. Like there's nothing else that it would be, but it's coming off that they're not so nice. That Ryan and Blake are not the nicest ever. Is the way it's maybe being portrayed.
Would that surprise you though? It wouldn't surprise me.
I suppose not. When someone comes off as like the coolest, like, oh, I'm Ryan Reynolds, and then later it comes out that like, no, he was a jerk. I guess you now. Okay, speaking of that, real quick, Deadpool, TJ,
Miller.
Okay, have you heard this story?
This is a while ago, right?
Yeah, of why he will never be in Deadpool or never be in a movie with Ryan Reynolds. We are so off. This is going to be like a 90-minute show.
Keep going.
So,
KG, man, KG.
So he said that when they were doing outtakes, Deadpool was talking to TJ's character and saying to his character, quote unquote, "You're nothing, you'll never be." But he was like winking at him as if to say, "I'm Ryan talking to TJ right now." But the cameras are rolling and it's Deadpool talking to, what was his character's name?
Karate
Whatever.
Jones. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. So it was like a weird feeling in the room that everyone knew that he was kind of jabbing at TJ.
Big league in you?
Yeah. That
Okay.
he was like, and it was really weird because it came from out of nowhere and it was just really mean-spirited, I guess. And it was just bad. And so there's that report on Ryan Reynolds for doing that, whatever.
He only has one setting anyway. So this kind of sarcastic.
And he has to be funny. He
Okay.
has to be funny. If he's not funny, he'll die.
Not every dude's
Van Wilder. He's
man
like,
crush is Ryan Reynolds. Not every dude's. You've heard that thing?
Yeah.
That's not
yeah.
real.
I'll take Jason Bateman. He can be more of what a regular human. He doesn't have to always be on, I feel like.
Okay.
But anyway. So, all right, that's our time. Thanks.
Welp.
What? All right, so this all goes back to 10 minutes later.
Yeah.
Saturday Night Live, okay?
Saturday Night Live.
How do you say it?
Saturday Night Live.
No, you do not. That is false.
There's a T in there.
Allegedly.
I looked it up.
Saturday. Yeah, okay, I say that.
Anyway.
SNL, if you will.
Yeah. Who was the first musical guest? I don't even know. I was just thinking.
Billy Preston.
Was Billy Preston.
And George Carlin was the... Now, back then, it was a bit different that it wasn't like...
It wasn't what it was going to turn into really quickly.
Yeah, and it did in time, but in a short time. But back then, the idea was to have like all these acts that were not cast members. Now there's only one host and only one musical, but back then the idea was to like keep it fresh and have like a 4 or 5. It was too much. They had to cut so much, but that was the idea. And so it got me thinking, and you had me think of this because, again, shout out to our trailer that we talk about different things.
Shout out to our trailer. Yes. Sup, trailer.
How you been?
Mm-hmm.
So we talk about Ashley Simpson and lip syncing, and
yeah, that was unfortunate.
Did you watch that one live when it actually happened, or
No.
did you hear about it?
No, I heard about it.
Yeah, I immediately, people were talking about it right when it happened, I remember, and I saw it and was like, oh, she just walked off. Like, didn't know what to do.
She did a little jig or something, and then
like she tried to like poke fun at herself. Yeah, and like
that's
band.
too bad too, because they just hit play on the wrong song. Like I'm gonna say, if there's
they did her dirty.
If there's been 5,000 musical performances on Saturday Night Live, a percentage of them are a backing track for sure.
Yeah, but they just hit the right play button.
They just hit the wrong song and so, and then that's too bad. I mean, she's fine, I'm sure, but yeah,
is she?
I don't know.
Yeah. You don't watch tabloids. You just said so.
She probably has a clothing line at Walmart or something now.
Kathy Ireland.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Oops by Ashley Simpson. Yeah.
Go to target.com.
Right.
/whoops.
Go to Montgomery Ward's.
Come see the wronger side of Sears.
Yeah. Okie dokie.
So, all right. So let's go through what were just rapid fire. What were some performances for you for the musical guests that were just like, okay, this is pretty cool. I want to see this.
There's some. So, like when I was a kid, Saturday Night Live was just on reruns all the time on Comedy Central. Saturday Night Live and The Kids in the Hall and all that. So you just could see Saturday Night Live every day and in the summertime and just watch a lot of TV in the house or not. But
You wouldn't watch it on a tablet. They didn't have them back then.
well, yeah. And like I remember seeing Midnight Oil, which is not the most obscure thing, but like, Beds, I think it's called. How can we sleep when the beds are burning? Just this silly, song, but it's good. It's a good song. Ding, ding, ding. That stood out to me, and I'm like, yeah, I mean, I was listening to like Aerosmith and death metal back then, and just, that was neat. But like, Rancid played. I think like when Out Come the Wolves came out, which was 96. Maybe. I mean, what else stands out? Queens of the Stone Age, like my favorite band, fellow redhead. Gene the cowbell, Will Ferrell thing. He came out because they played Little Sister, and there's just a cowbell pretty much throughout that whole song.
He asked to come out, right? I think.
I don't know that. I don't know, but just based on like the band's reaction, they were just like, "Yes, hello."
Yeah,
they weren't like, "Look at that!" Like they knew he would. Yeah. There's no way.
I think the story goes they truly didn't know.
Really?
Yeah.
So they're all just jerks? That would, I mean...
That's kind of a jerk move.
I just like...
Well, they know they're live, and they have to like keep it together, maybe. I don't know. And who knows the real story, but
sure.
The cowbell thing, have you heard what Christopher Walken has said about that? Like, lately?
Some... Not offhand,
So, one, he won't be interviewed about it. He doesn't want to talk about it.
Sure.
And two... He had an honest conversation with Will Ferrell telling him that he ruined his life. That he does Broadway shows, like real acting. And at the end, they just play the cowbell. Like when he does his final bow or whatever.
That's got to be annoying.
Yeah.
That's got to be...
even today, this is years and years, 20 years ago. And people are still, even on the street, coming up to him, more cowbell. Like,
I've got a fever.
It's enough. It's enough.
Yeah,
And Will Ferrell's like, that's all he's like, welp.
Yeah. So it's just off limits
funny.
now for him. Yeah. Like playing Stairway to Heaven at a guitar shop. Don't do it.
So, okay, performances, we talked about this. This was a big one I was going to bring up, is Sinead O'Connor.
Yeah.
Because they didn't know. And you see in the documentary, they talk about all the musical guests and stuff, and that was a huge one that was brought up. And I just think for them not to know and then be like, just kind of pause when you realize that it's live. No one's going to go up and tackle her.
Sure.
And Lauren doesn't want that, which is cool. Like, this is your time to express yourself, and we're not gonna, as long as you don't say the 7 deadly words that George Carlin talks about, as long as you don't say those words on national television, you can actually do whatever you want.
Yeah.
And makes it a great venue. And she knew that, and she was super smart to do that. And she's
holding that picture the whole time. Crazy. That was a big deal.
Awkward. That was a huge deal.
A very big deal.
Yeah. We were kids. We were 10 years old, right?
Yeah.
10, 11,
She
whatever.
sang War, like a cappella. Just
in her eyes. You see the performance, and she means it. Like,
yeah. And
the Catholic Church had wronged her, and she was gonna.
Yeah.
That was her time to let people know about it, and she's not the only one, and that's what she was, quote unquote, fighting for.
Yeah. She was badass.
That is
Did she pass away recently?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. She had not done. Honestly, since then, she really had.
Hadn't done anything
and she
that
knew.
Rose to the mainstream, but she had a whole career.
Yeah,
the whole time.
But it suffered. I mean,
sure.
You can't deny.
Yeah.
Another one that jumps out is Nirvana, because it was just back then.
Is that Charles Barkley hosting? Yes.
Look, Mom, it's your favorite, Nirvana.
Yeah.
It's so awkward. It's so funny.
Yeah.
I think our algorithms match on that we've seen that reel when we scroll through. That's really good. But that performance, man, smells like Teen Spirit, bro, on Saturday Night Live. Did I say it better that time?
No,
I didn't even.
you did not. It's fine. We all know what you're saying.
Well, now I'm self-conscious.
I'm Helios. Yeah, Nirvana and like, I mean,
That's pretty epic.
Smashing Pumpkins, Rage played Bulls on Parade, like just, I mean, big crazy stuff.
What about Belushi's guys?
Oh, Fear, yeah.
That was not like they wouldn't normally just be
right
on the show,
it
but
was like a favor or something.
Yeah, and that was like actually though a thing then, because to have that kind of band in that genre, that was, I feel like, the start of Saturday Night Live being kind of looked at as, okay, if you want to showcase something different and someone really up and coming, hey, we can get you on our show and you can be broadcast to the jillions of people, which is a really cool thing.
Yeah,
it's different when Paul McCartney comes on in the 90s when he's already had 15 careers worth of stuff, and then he plays an old hit. Like, okay, cool.
Right.
Billy Joel. Okay, cool. It is great. I'm not going to say it's not awesome, but it's not the same as an up-and-coming band to come and just thrash and do their thing, and you're like, who was that?
Look at this, they've,
Nirvana,
they're on the radio and they're on their way up or something. Yeah.
That is what's super cool. And then you have a mix of the bands or the artists who they're in the middle of their thing, but they're already world famous. And Kanye, for me, the stage, bro, it was, I feel like it was the very, very, very first time that you could not tell where he was performing. The whole idea of Saturday Night Live is that
I'm sorry.
I know the studio that they do it at, like, because there's like 6 of them where they do sketches. The cowbell sketch they did all the way on the left, which is usually where sketches go to die. It's not the ones that are like the real sketches usually. That was funny also about cowbell, is that they shot it way where the audience couldn't see as much. When they show the floor plan of the show, the side areas, the audience can't really see that well. So anyway, you have your spots. Music is right here. Okay. Well, you can always tell. You can just see the background. Ladies and gentlemen, whatever they announce. And then, but Kanye's performance, it was like all the lights and all, and you're like, you're in a music video. It feels like.
Not but one of the best. Say what you want about him.
Right.
Kanye playing Runaway. Yeah.
Unreal.
Unbelievably good.
Unreal. Like, touche, sir.
Yeah.
Like, that's.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Okay. I see why you're an insane person.
Yeah.
Okay.
Literally mic drop.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah. What else was there? Was another.
Beyonce was like that. Just her choreography.
Yeah.
And we're not fans.
Yeah.
But you can appreciate, Madonna.
A huge show.
Dude.
Being condensed down to a small, because that's a small stage. That's like a club.
Right. It's a production, and they're
like
doing
a hall.
all their,
can be really something special. I saw Muse at this club in San Francisco, 330 Rich Street, and it's about the size of this room. Muse, when they're humongous.
Wow. Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah.
That'd be sick.
Take up a lot of space. But yeah, I don't know. There, for a while, me watching Saturday Night Live was about the musical guest.
Right. Even in the good, I'll say good years. My good years was Mike Myers, Dana Carvey, Chris Farley, David Spade, Phil Hartman, like Kevin Nealon doing the news. Those are the good, I would say, good years.
Those were the predominant episodes that you'd see on Comedy Central during the day.
Yeah. And even then there was sketches that were like, who's the music?
Yeah.
You know?
Like the Oops, I Crap My Pants sketch, that was that era. And like, yeah, the Love Toilet and all that. Yeah. And it's,
Schlitzke.
yeah. Right.
What is it? If you're gay and you like beer, or what like Phil Hartman.
Yeah.
Phil Hartman did all the commercials back then. That was
Yeah.
awesome. He was such a great voice for all that, for announcing and stuff.
Yeah.
Saturday Night Live.
Saturday.
Saturday.
Sábado Gigante.
So I'll say, with music and a performance like that, I would love to. Now, I'm not a huge fan of like Dua Lipa. Okay, cool. She's amazing. Great. I know like 2 songs and like, okay, I bob my head and that's about it. She's on Saturday Night Live. Well, okay. You know, it's tough now, but I would love, wouldn't you love to go just to say one time that,
Yeah.
like, it would be cool.
It would be.
It would be super cool. It would be way different than what we would think, because it always is. But knowing what I know, the stage and this, and like, it would still be really cool. But I just feel a little like, man, I don't know how I'd feel unless it was what we talked about, where it would be like a famous, well-established who's just going to do an old song. And it'd be, so like the Foo Fighters, it would be cool to say, okay, cool, we saw, you know, because I remember Chris Kattan was saying that about U2. He was such a fan. And when they came on, like, they were already established, but they were on the show. And like, it was, and I think Bono might have been, that's cool too. When that's a busy week for those people. When they can be the host and they're the musical performer, that's nuts. You have no time off to be able to do that. But I remember he was saying that was a big deal. Like, that was special. Same as we were talking about with Man Who Sold the World.
Mm-hmm.
When David Poe, like that, people still talk about that. And that man's been dead for years. And that song, like you said, is such an obscure song. But that was like a big deal when he did that. That I just feel like there would be that little bit of a little bit of a downer.
Yeah. I mean,
because you wouldn't know who it was.
I see what you're saying, but
because you have to plan to go. You can't be like, well, let's wait till we find out who it is, and then maybe, like, that's too hard to schedule. You would have to schedule it for like, July 10th we're gonna go. Well, you don't know who's gonna be the, you know.
I wonder how it would translate too, because what I was gonna say is the Saturday Night Live musical performance is the production side of it is like very honed in now. So when you're watching it on the TV, it sounds perfect. It's great. I'm curious, like, genuinely, what in the studio if it's not that good, because they're really concerned about not the 17 people
production. Live. They're worried about the millions.
So if it sounds like listening to a garage band at a beer hall or whatever,
you're like, these guys aren't really that good. Yeah, Muse.
Just cymbals washing.
Like, what?
All right. I mean, probably not. Obviously, there's probably a house system, but probably, of course, yeah. That little show, Saturday Night Live, they probably got some money.
The little dinky.
They might have a few dollars to spend.
I think even back then with Billy Preston, I think they had. It was a bit decent. I mean, yeah.
But, somebody that, like Midnight Oil, something that would never show up on my radar, and I'm watching it, it's like an early 90s episode, and, wow, that was good. Yeah. Because it hits right, or whatever the kids are saying, or like Florence and the Machine, something you wouldn't really, and you see it, and you're like,
yeah,
okay, the camera work, the production, the performance itself, it's all, I don't know, it's different than watching a band play on like David Letterman or something. It's just different.
No, for sure. 100%.
Yeah.
Way different. And
although Jules Holland, do you know that? It's like a European variety show. Same thing, but they have a lot of like artists and bands and stuff, sometimes more obscure stuff, like Mastodon played it, and it's pretty cool. You can see good performances there, but that's European. So this is our special musical performance late night television show.
yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Last one that hit me was Helen Hunt. And that one was good, first of all, because they had your host, Linda Richmond, Coffee Talk. Does anyone ever tell you to go to hell and hunt? First of all, that was really good. But the musical guest, Lawdy Dawdy, we likes to party. Snoop Dogg wearing the Tommy Hilfiger polo. Dude, that was nutty, because you felt, even as a kid, what you're like, Snoop, I don't know if you're supposed to be rapping that song. Like, I think that's more for like just the ghetto people, and like not for the world. Like, no, Snoop, no. That was a big deal.
Yeah.
That song to do. I remember watching with
Snoop,
Paul.
leave out the unfavorable parts, and he's just standing silent on the stage the whole time.
Go tell your mother. Like, that song, like, it was such a cool performance. I remember thinking, like, there isn't 10 people cooler than Calvin Brodus. There is not. At that time. Like, dude, that was freaking cool, man.
Yeah.
That was when we didn't miss a single week watching. That was its heyday to me. Me and Paul, either he would come to my place or I would go to his, and we did not miss a single episode. And then when it wasn't live, because every 2 or 3 weeks it's not, randomly, and then in the summer it's not, then we would just rent Heat or maybe not literally. I think
I just saw the movie Heat.
Yeah. Whatever movie, 12 Monkeys or whatever
That's a
movie,
good movie.
Whatever movie that we could watch where his younger brothers David and Steven would not want to watch because they're like, that's what we would do. We would find movies on purpose that maybe deep down we weren't as interested because we're young too, but we just did not want to hang out. Because when you're 15, 16, 17, do you really want to hang out with 10-year-olds?
No.
So we were like,
we're watching Schindler's List.
And they're like, oh, we'll just go to bed. But when you're 10, do you want to hang out with 16 and 17-year-olds?
Yeah.
So they're always like, can we go with you to Scott's? That's what Kroger is now.
Oh.
Can we go? Because they had movies there for 49 cents. You could rent. So we'd have $2 and we'd get candy and movies and come back. $2. That's crazy to think.
I got Milk Duds and Predator 2 starring Danny Glover.
Predator 2. Yeah.
Electric Boogaloo.
That was Saturday night.
Yeah. Yeah. Good stuff, though.
That was, amazing stuff. So shout out to Lorne Michaels. Doing your thing, man.
Good job, man.
We appreciate you.
Keep going.
Here's to another 50, Trebek.
Yeah.
All right.
Suck it. Yeah.
That's pretty good. That's better than Daryl Hammond. He wasn't the best Trebek, honestly, or Sean Connery, honestly. It was like, no. What do we have laying around? We got this guy. We got Daryl Hammond. All right, Daryl, get in there. Yeah.
He's grayish.
It just was not very good.
Yeah.
But, all right. We will probably, if the world does not end, I can guarantee we'll see you next week.
Yeah, it might, though. But I love you.
Okay. Okay, so if you happen to like this episode, please tell a friend.
And if you didn't like this episode, please tell nobody.
Be sure to like and subscribe on Apple and Spotify and, of course, YouTube.
Follow us on social media as the links are in the show notes.
Remember to check out our next episode where we will tell you how it's related.